Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Motive, Social Motivation for the Creative Class. I'm your host, Tim Fulton, here with our featured creative, Rick Harrison Wolfe, Executive Director of the North Market here in Columbus, Ohio. Rick, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you very much.
Big thank you to our live studio audience. First, Rick, you have been Executive Director for 2 years now of the North Market.
2 years.
Give a little background. How did you get
You
here?
and I?
Yeah.
To Columbus.
To,
Or the market.
Columbus and away and back, I think.
I'll save you from the long memoir. Moved here when I was a kid from New York. Grew up here, went away for college, and kept going west. Chicago, San Francisco, then LA for the long haul. My career of many years in Los Angeles ended in '09, like lots of things. Ended in '09, and I was a bit lost and needed to reinvent myself, so took some time off, sabbatical, unemployment, and lived on an island for a while, went to London for a while, but came back here to visit several times, hadn't been here for a long time. And the food truck thing was just happening in Los Angeles in '08, '09, just getting started with Roy Choi and Kogi. And I'd never been in that business. And I said, this would be a good idea. And I came back to visit here, and Columbus had changed a great deal from when I left in '88, which is hard to say now. It's a long time ago. And so I bought a food truck, put it on a truck, because it would have not made it 10 miles outside of LA, shipped it here, and opened a food truck.
Why did you decide to come back to Columbus? I mean, you had been decidedly moving away. And so why come back?
That was sort of when I was lost and trying to figure out the next thing. I came back to visit friends because I don't have any family here any longer, and it had changed a great deal. And I thought the food truck thing would fit well, and there was an opportunity for it. Really wasn't happening here yet, and it was good to be around friends. And Columbus supports interesting things.
Can I put a couple of words in your mouth?
Of course.
So you came back, and I imagine saw that something that had happened somewhere else hadn't happened in Columbus yet, hadn't made its way back.
Not in a big way.
And you saw that it was embracing the things that were happening other places.
I came back for an Independence Day. It was probably 2010 when I was really considering where I was going to go. And I said, this will work here. And I talked to a lot of folks and met a lot of new people. And I just, like I said, bought the truck and moved.
And so the opportunity of the North Market came up.
So 18 months of food truck was more than enough for me. I admire those guys that keep opening. It's a tough business. It wasn't for me. I enjoyed creating it and getting it off the ground, but the running it part was not the part I enjoyed so much. So I put it up for sale, and luckily there was someone out there that wanted to buy the truck and the brand, and they're still on the street and have another truck, so very happy that's still around. And then I was back to unemployment. And the day after my birthday, 2013, somebody called me and said, hey, the fella who's been around the North Market for 12 years, retired, jobs posted. I said, I tried to buy as much for the truck from the market. That was part of the theme. I get spices from the Spice Guy, cheese from Curds and Whey. So a lot of the things I bought for the food truck were from the market, so I spent a lot of time there. So I sent my resume in. Simple as that.
And then how long?
Well, they ended up getting about 400 applicants, and I didn't hear anything for 2 months, not a peep. So I'd really forgotten about it, figuring out, obviously, they've moved on and it's not me. And I got a call and said, we're down to the final 8 2 months later.
Now, you won. You are the executive director of the North Market. Was it that you were the best possible choice at the time, or was it your connections there, the fact that you had sort of been fostering those relationships?
I mean, it was a board decision, and none of them knew me, except for there was a couple that knew of me from the food truck, and I was very much the unconventional choice. We're a nonprofit. I knew zero about nonprofits, never worked for one. So, I was an unconventional choice, but I put together a proposal that they liked for the future. That's really, I think, in the end, what did it.
talk about sort of the North Market you walked into, what it needed, what you thought it needed, and how it's changed.
Well, yeah, I mean, the person before me was there 12 years and had a great run, did a great job. I mean, I walked into something that was already good. It was by no means a disaster. It was already in a good place, been going in the right direction. But I guess one thing when I was interviewing and trying to compile information from just people in the community, I'd say, so what do you think of the market? And it's one of those places that 9 times out of 10, most people say, oh, I love the place. Rarely do you hear, oh man, that place sucks, which is a nice thing, you know. So people have a soft spot for the market.
I'm going to stop you a little bit because there are certainly complaints.
Sure.
There's a perception of difficulty to park.
Sure.
That's something that you have changed.
It's not a perception. I mean, that's downtown. That's the flip side of progress and success. 15 years ago, you could have found just about any spot you wanted and come to North Market, and there was nothing happening downtown. So, no parking things are happening downtown all around us, and that's a great thing.
So the market is nonprofit.
Yes.
Your landlord is the city of Columbus.
Our landlord and great partner, the city of Columbus. Yes.
I had a perception before sitting down and talking to you that as a nonprofit, you are tasked with serving small business, that you are tasked with sort of fostering the growth of the tenants of the market. In your mind, who does the North Market serve?
First and foremost, the community. I mean, the North Market's been there since 1876. I'll give you the brief history lesson. There were 4 public markets in Columbus. The original was Central Market, which is now where the Greyhound station is. Unfortunately, that was torn down in the 60s. There was an East Market by Mount Vernon, it burned down. There was a West Market in Franklinton that the building is still there, but it just disappeared long ago. So we're the last remaining market since 1876. And, you know, originally markets, that's where you did everything. You shopped, you got shoes for your horse, you got a saddle, quilts, and things like that. So that's really that. There was no supermarkets, obviously. So first and foremost, we serve the community. And now, with the convention center and the arena district and all these other things happening, you know, a large portion of the people walking through the doors are tourism and convention, which is very important to the local economy as well. So it's a lot different now since the arena district and the convention center have been there. The dynamics have changed of who's coming through the doors. So we have to serve both.
Talk about how you make choices about who is in the market now, and you know what people see and what people experience when they're there.
Once again, with that sort of, you have the tourist and convention person, and you have the local community. It's a very difficult balance because fresh is really what what market started out. The old Quonset hut had 3 produce, 3 butchers. In this day and age, I have an application stack that high. There's not, you know, one fishmonger in there. There's not one butcher in there. So, you know, we have to now, when we are looking for those types of businesses, which is very important for the balance, we have to really go out and seek them. Because everybody, and I shouldn't say it's easy, but the prepared food side, everybody wants to have a restaurant business in the North Market. We have 1 million to 1.5 million people coming through the doors. You got an audience. So
right, there's a lot of people that want to come in and just get.
We have to maintain that balance. It's very, very hard. Not a lot of people want to be a butcher anymore. It's tough to find, maybe in Brooklyn or you know, one of these. It's happening a little around the country, but that's just not a trade that folks are going towards these days. So very difficult to find.
One thing you noted with me when we were talking ahead of time is that when you came in, the market was event-driven. That there were a lot of weekend-long festivals, and that sort of dominated the advertising budget and what you were doing. And while it served certainly the community, the established community, you felt as though it didn't serve the vendors very well.
Yes, I mean, when I came in, we had, I believe, 9 or 10 events, almost every month, and the marketing strategy was event-driven. And some of those, and I said I'll live through every one of them once to see what they're all about. And we ended up keeping 3 of those. The problem that was happening is that those people in the market, the merchants in the market, they pay rent 365 days a year. I need to make sure everything that we do is good for them, not just good for us to raise money. So, and the marketing, like it was really event driven, and we are here to market the market. I don't want you to come once a month to event. I want you to come every day. So we shifted that message, and that it's someplace you can come every day. Buy a steak, cook at home, or eat there, or get your spices and so forth. I want you coming every day. So we went down to 3. And we have smaller events, not the giant. We have 2 where we close Spruce Street, and then we have our own fundraiser. But a lot of the other ones they weren't good for the merchants, and they really honestly were losing the market money.
What do you see as the future of the market at this point? You've come in and sort of by mandate some facility improvements and implemented the plan that you set out to implement. What's next?
I mean, it's nice. We just finished the roof project. I mean, it's $3 million of work we've had done in 2 years since I've been there as far as facility stuff. So that's done. The building's about as good as we're going to get that. The merchant mix is always, to me, first and foremost. I mean, and the word is overused, but it's about curating. And in my head, when something is going to go out, in my head, I kind of already know what I feel should be in there. So we will continue that. We have a review process now for merchants, which kind of we all get reviewed in life if we have a job. So that's certainly up the game, which I hope you can see from old merchants and new. But the big one is since day one, we have a great footprint there, and the city owns all that property. I want an expansion. Our mission is it's about local independent businesses. And if I have more space, I can have more local independent businesses in that place. And so an expansion is that's what I'm working on.
When you started the job 2 years ago, is there anything that you didn't expect?
The North Market is very near and dear to so many in town, and just about anything that happens on whatever scale, it gets some sort of press and attention, and a lot more than I would have ever thought. So I feel, and I completely take responsibility, even though I have a board and we have 35 merchants, I take responsibility for everything that happens there. And so, I'm criticized here and there.
It's a political job. You are dealing
No
with...
No one said that in the interview process. Very much so. Well, it is. It needs to be, because the city is our partner and they own the space, and I want them obviously happy with what we're doing there. And with that, obviously the community. I want I want it to be the best experience possible. So that requires a little bit of I work a lot with city council, and they approve these things, and for many years, they just kind of didn't pay attention. And not because, they didn't love it or whatever the case, or other things, but I've tried. I scream and yell all the time about, they said they wanted a Jack Hanna in the interview process. I don't have the furry animals, but I will go out and scream and yell and tell the story about the market whenever I can, and that's what I try to do. So
anything that you'd want the supporters of the North Market, who are maybe there once a month, that are not sort of the regular patrons, anything that you'd want them to take away in order to support the market?
First and foremost, everybody in there is a local independent business. Not all of them are small anymore. Some have grown, and we wish that growth for everybody. That's not in everybody's business plan. Some folks are very pleased having their business in there for 15 years, and they make a very good living. But when you come in there, you truly are supporting local independent businesses, and that's all under one roof.
Rick, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Round of applause,
Thank you
please.
very much. Good stuff.